Don't let the mug fool you. It's not tea. I needed something stronger than that. Like the flipper's coming out all serious.
Yeah, yep. This is. Ah, ah, bleh. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Unleash the Kraken.
Because you look like it looks like dolphin flippers. There
Yeah,
you go. You're here for
Kenneth.
Ken.
Kenneth.
Kenneth.
I did have one thing that hit me while watching this, and that's we've had 6 seasons of this show, right? And the host is Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey. But more importantly is the Nick Lachey part. We have Mr. 98 Degrees. How is it they never had him do a theme song for this show? Like 98 Degrees was infamously known for their love ballads,
It's
especially him,
true.
you know?
Yeah, he was basically the lead singer.
Yeah, he's the guy. And like in his solo
Yeah.
album, granted he had like probably 2, 3 solo albums, but the one album where like when he separated from his first wife, Jessica Simpson, like that album, like
Mhm.
I still listen to this today. It's a great album. I don't care. It's a great ballads. Like he's got a good ballad voice. And all I can
Yes,
think is like,
he
how
does.
come there isn't a song for this show?
But when he watches this episode, he'll know now to make a choose.
Yeah. And if you do watch our episode, I wrote a song for you. I got a song already written for you, buddy. I got you. All right. It's all yours. You just got to sing it, bro.
Okay. Are you keeping it to yourself, or would you dare spit some lyrics right now?
Would I dare? Let me see. Me.
I feel like we're in the pods.
I know, right? Now remember, I told you I am sick, so I'm not
Yeah,
sick.
okay.
My throat's been not great. All right. Imagine Nick Lachey. All right. Are you imagining it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, doom, 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 boom, doom, doom. Yeah. Right? Feel it, feel it.
I'm feeling it.
Love is blind, and so am I. So why can't I find what I'm looking for when your love and my love is blind? And then bam, show starts.
Damn! I was like, okay, first of all, your sore throat didn't even matter because it was just like perfect pitch.
Yeah,
That
okay.
was lovely. That was so like in the pods-esque because there's always guys making
Right?
songs for like girls and singing on
Ripping out the
Love Is Blind, and
ukuleles
you're
and
like,
stuff.
yeah. Oh my god. From movies to video games, welcome to Replays It All. Today's episode is Love Is Blind Season 6 reunion reaction slash recap slash review. That's what it is. With George. With George. We literally just finished watching
Yes.
the episode, and we're in different time zones, so we wanted to be in pajamas because it is late. It is 11:39 here p.m. my time,
Yeah.
and it is what, 9:39 there for
Yep.
you.
Relatively early late for me, I guess. To
Yeah.
some extent.
We wanted to just like get it and get it out, like we with our passion just
Right?
flared up
Just
and
get in
fuming, right,
there.
George? Just get in.
Yes.
And George is dressed like a shark slash dolphin hybrid. You're like a shark eating a man. That's what you look like feet first. A shark is eating a man
uh
feet
Shark
first.
eats man, yes.
Yes. And then also I appreciate the dolphin type look too for Kenneth,
Right?
because we all
Yeah.
know Ken's gonna watch this episode.
He wouldn't have watched it before, but now that I'm resembling something that's familiar to him, he can see me from miles away.
He's got his like sonar, like you know how like
Yeah. Like a
dolphins have
dolphin.
that. Yeah, exactly. That's what he has. He's like, he hears you
Yeah.
calling. Okay, so you know what? I think we should just like just go. Just
Get into
start.
it. Yeah.
We
Just like the
gotta just
show
get
did.
into it. It's just get into it. There's a lot of things we gotta cover. First I just want to say that they had a lot of people on from previous seasons. Which
Yeah.
they never done that before, right? Where they have them as like a
No.
focal point of like the reunion shows. They never done that before.
Not that I can ever recall, to be honest. This almost felt like a farewell to Love is Blind.
That's what I thought. It's like it felt like a finale because of it.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that aspect of it? How did you feel about them being there?
Uh I mean, it was cool to catch up on old couples that are like having
Mhm,
kids now and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool and
mhm,
sweet. It's like, oh, they're making it. Like it's
mhm,
working. I think that's really
mhm.
cool. But at the same time, I think it took away from like the people who we want to see. Like we had like what 5 seconds with Kenneth and this girl, and that was it. Like even they spoke up. They're like, finally getting onto us. It's like, yeah, finally.
Yeah.
What? Like I don't like I care, but I don't care about these other people. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that could have been like its own show. Like that could have been its
Yeah,
own episode. I found that it drastically took away from the people from this season. And it was almost like, okay, like get to it. Like get to I want to hear more about Chelsea and Jimmy. Like I want to hear more, especially with Brittany and Kenneth. Like I think that really was that time was stolen from them with the people
yeah,
from the old episodes, which again I loved hearing the recap too. It's so nice to know that 9 couples out of 11 are still married. Like that's crazy.
right.
But also it's like, yeah, I care about those guys, but like not for this. I was so wanted to hear like more updates and more like what's been going on the last year. And I feel like we were kind of robbed of that because we were focusing on other people. Like I
Yeah.
loved hearing about them, but not for this episode.
Especially since like this episode started really strong with the drama. It's like they went
Yeah.
right into it with the problem couples, and it's like, oh yeah. And then by the end, it kind of fizzled out because they just started focusing on those other couples from like seasons ago. And then we had like the order of how they went through things, I think was also kind of weird. Like I feel like they should
Very.
have gone through like the non-drama couple, like
Mm.
talk about Kenneth, talk about the ones who are in love, and then save the big guns for the end because it's such heavy material.
Oh, I 100% agree. I feel like you should always save like the best for last because then it's
Yeah.
going to keep viewers watching and everything too, right? That was it was a weird choice, a weird direction that they went in. Um Before we get into like the couples that are actually part of the show,
Yeah.
let me just ask you, who had your favorite dress? What was your favorite dress? Who looked the prettiest?
I'd say I feel bad that I'm blanking on her name because we talked about how much we liked her, but it's the one that was with Kenneth.
Brittany,
Yeah.
right? Brittany, is that her
Yeah.
name? Yeah. Yeah,
Brittany,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like I
okay.
liked her dress because
Mm-hmm.
it was beautiful, but it still had like a modesty to it and everything. There was
Mm-hmm.
some dresses where I was just like, and Jen, my wife, who was sitting next to me, and like she was focused on two dresses. She because I'm looking at a Vanessa Lachey's dress because it was kind of popping, and she's just like, I just see the veins. I can't stop looking. and then we had AD whose dress was just see-through. And I was just like, this girl just wants to be looked at like always. Uh, but I like Britney's dress. I thought Britney's dress was like probably the most classy.
Classy, elegant.
It matched
Mhm.
her persona or her
Yes,
personality, I should say.
I agree with that. 80s dress is like if you got to wear pasties on your nibs there, if you got to wear something underneath, so people don't see that on TV. It's like that's too see through. It's too see
Yeah,
through. Like you can wear
yeah,
like a bodysuit underneath. You can get like something. I don't know. I It was pretty, but it was too see through. It's like usually there's like a layer underneath those see through dresses where it kind of like
yeah.
matches the skin tone. I My favorite dress was Amy's, that like red sparkly one. I'm like, that's the one I would have worn.
Oh,
I definitely would have worn
I
that
mean,
dress. It was just so
with
yeah, I
her,
love
with
it.
what happened for her storyline, that's the dress you
Mhm.
wear. Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I think it's all about what happens in your life within that situation. And yeah, she wore the dress for her. You wear the scarlet
Yes.
dress.
Ooh, it was perfect.
Yeah,
It was so
yeah,
good. Chelsea's dress, I don't like feathers. Like I'm like I'm not a feather type showy. Like I was like
yeah.
Chelsea, I don't know. That was too much. I'm a girl, so I was just like really into like dresses. Wanted to know your take, and I loved
No,
your take.
it's funny because we did talk about it. Like Jen
It
was
was
on her phone, but she likes fashion, so it's like it was definitely a conversation piece for us.
okay, let's go where it first started. Started right off the bat, which I thought was kind of a shocker with the Laura, Jeremy, Sarah
Sarah Ann.
Ann love
Yeah.
triangle. Thoughts?
Yeah, I was surprised that they went like for the big dogs immediately because
Hmm.
I would have saved them for near the end. But it's just I'm just kind of befuddled that they're still saying that nothing happened. Like it's hard for me to believe. But like, let's say for argument's sake, if it's true, all right, man. I guess good
Yeah.
for you for not kissing or sleeping with her till
Mhm.
5 o'clock in the morning. Good job for you, man.
Mhm.
Because all like drama aside, she's a smoke show. And the fact that you could just be next to her and not do anything, just talk, good job. Good
Your flipper's going.
job. But
Yeah.
I definitely feel like there's some sketchy stuff there. Like they were kind of owning up to stuff, but at the same time not. And it's just
Hmm.
like realize like what you did was shady. Like that was it was
Hmm.
dirty. Like okay, yeah, you're playing your
Hmm.
game for yourself, but that's very disrespectful to do
Hmm.
that, in my opinion. And I just felt like
Yeah.
not neither one of them ever really owned up to like the disrespect that they did to Laura.
I, it's just because I don't think they really care. I
No,
mean,
no.
they found their person, and that's what matters to them, and they're like, whatever, it's been a year, move on. Like, you know what I mean? They're just like, yeah, it was crappy what I did. Handled everything wrong. I handled everything wrong too. We handled it wrong. But such
It
is
is what it
life.
is.
It's pretty much like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, I thought they spent way too much time on them. Way too
Oh
much
yeah.
time on them. It was like half an hour just on them, and I was just like, okay, move on. Like they're doing their thing now. Laura's happy with somebody else doing their thing now. We don't need to like get that cat fight going. I know they want to for drama's sake and everything like
Yeah.
that for the show, but at the same time, it was like it's really hard for me to be like because if I'd be so boring if I was on the show. If I had like drama with somebody like a year prior and then I was on the show, I'd be like, okay, like it's a year ago, let's just move past it. Like, please,
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm sorry, let's just move on. But like they were like really like Laura is still like, oh my god, you were meant to protect my heart. You knew me for 4 weeks and you promised to protect my heart. I hung out with you for 2 weeks and you promised to protect my heart forever. How dare you? I don't know. I just because I think it's
uh,
just the circumstance is so unreal, and it's so
yeah.
like what Sarah, like
Yeah.
Sarah was saying, this was for entertainment, and they're like, "How dare you say it was for entertainment?" I'm like, shut up, Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey. Obviously, it's for entertainment. Like this is the whole purpose of the show. You love the drama. Don't get me wrong. We want
Yeah.
the love. The
Yeah.
love is our favorite part. The love. We hope the outcome is love for a lot of people, but a lot of people watch it solely for the drama and they get really like it's like drama fueled. So I understand what Sarah Ann was saying. Like, hey, we were your entertainment. You're welcome. Like this was the whole point, right? The whole point of you watching. So I knew what she
Yeah.
was saying, but at the same time, it's like it is a show. That's what it comes down to. It's not. I mean, it is real life in people's real hearts, but it's also like somewhat fantasy land. If it works out great and it's like has longevity, great. But at the same time, that's pretty rare. It's rare. And all the
Yeah.
couples they ever have on the show, like 9 are still going at it. Like that's a rare thing, but it was just a lot. Them on them.
I gotta say though, at the same time, like part of me enjoy like because I was telling this to Jen, I was like, Nick Lachey and Vanessa, they're not actors. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like Nick Lachey's a
Mm-hmm.
singer and she's a host. You know, so she's always been is done since like the MTV days. She just hosted things, but I don't consider them
Mm-hmm.
as actors. You know,
Mm-hmm.
actually, I take it back. She has done some acting, so I guess she's an actress.
Mm-hmm.
But I just
Mm-hmm.
don't see them that way. So in turn, like
Right.
when they get invested into this like the conversation, I feel like they represent us so well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like when he's asking like those tough questions and he's kind of like drilling them, like, hey, you know, people are putting their hearts on the line and you're just taking advantage of it. It's like, yeah, tell them, Nick, tell them,
Uh,
putting their hearts on the line. People have feelings.
And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, he's reading a script. He has a
Yeah,
script of
yeah,
questions
yeah.
he has to say. It's both. It's both things because
It
it's like
is
they
both.
seem
Yeah,
so. And at the same time, it's like Nick Lachey. I've seen the picture with you and Jessica Simpson when you were married, and then you have Vanessa right beside you, and you guys are at an event. It's like you had probably a little love triangle too. So don't give me all this like, oh, how dare you? Someone's heart. So who knows?
I want to believe like just as much as I want to believe in love, I want to believe that Nick and Vanessa are in their bed watching the show and rooting for couples. Like when
I
she's
know
like, he was crying his butt off. I was like, I want to believe. It's like you can't sing love ballads and not be kind of emotional, right? like
it's true,
like you gotta be kind of like a sweetheart. And
and
I
I
gotta say,
mean,
I actually used to watch Newlyweds. And so like
yeah.
because I love the MTV days. The MTV days of reality
Hmm.
TV, I watched it. So
Hmm.
I definitely watched that show and I remember rooting for Nick Lachey. I remember being like, man, this poor guy. I felt for him. So when he married Vanessa Lachey, I was like, success.
Yeah. It's like you got your Sarah and Nick Lachey.
Damn.
I don't know.
I like to think that they weren't together during that time period.
Who knows? We'll never know.
We'll never know.
You know, we'll never
We
know.
won't. We won't.
I can see him actually crying in bed watching that scene because who didn't have their heartstrings pulled at that scene of Amy about to walk down the aisle with her dad and her brother. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Bawling. I watched it twice and I bawled both times. I could see the cliche shedding some tears. Oh, ugh.
Yeah.
So that was one of my notes was about Jeremy and Sarah Ann is like they kind of belong together, so just let them be. Like,
Oh yeah,
they're
yeah,
made,
yeah.
they're kind of made for each other, I think. So they have their own little thing. Just like you guys belong together. That's fine.
Yeah, in some way the show worked out for them still. You know, they still
Oh, it
found
did.
somebody. Yeah.
The experiment worked, and you
Yeah.
know what? I'm sure things will work out great for Laura too. Just let your man dress
Yeah.
how they want to dress, though. That's one thing I say to her.
Seriously.
Seriously, if he
The
wants
guy
to
wants to
dress
be
up like
Miami
a
Vice, let
shark,
him be Miami Vice, right?
yeah. Want to wear a shark onesie? Just do it. Let the man wear his shark
Yeah.
onesie.
Sometimes you just want to swim free.
Okay, so they spent too much time on them, I think, though. And then we had a little bit of a uh aperitif, a little bit of a palate cleanser with Trevor coming out
Oh
for a
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it already. I believe
Hmm.
we talked about it in the last episode, like because you had done your research and saw that he had had a girlfriend prior. And so for them to air it all out and to show the text messages, I was just like, oh snap. I don't think we've ever had a season go this in depth of what was going on with these people. And so I was kind of surprised they actually just went there. And then Nick was just started questioning. It's like, so what's that about? Did you have a girlfriend while you were on the show? And just his silence is just like, I thought he was gonna break down and start crying right there. I was like, did he just like you probably could be playing an act right now, but are you gonna break down right now? Like you did this. You knew what
Yeah.
you were doing. You had a person while being on the show, and I don't care. You could say like, "Oh, we weren't a girlfriend and boyfriend because I didn't put a label on it." Who says I love you to someone without putting a label on it? I've never done that. Like it's a pretty serious thing. And
Hmm.
it's like you just did it in text, like, "Yeah, I love you, whatever." But I'm gonna go test the waters out there and make sure that things are cool. And then he said like she was crazy
Yeah.
or something. Like, yeah, we were toxic for each other. I'm toxic, she's
Yeah.
toxic, but
Yeah.
yet they're together still, I guess.
I don't know.
Like it was weird. It was so weird.
It was weird, and, like, that's the thing too, like, they didn't do enough updates, like, "Are you dating now? Who are you with now?" to anybody on the show, well, to some people, but not as much as
Some,
I
yeah.
wanted, but to Trevor, it's like, "Yeah, well, did you hang out with Chelsea after? Did you guys hang out? Like, did anything
Right?
happen with you guys?" Like, no one asked those questions, and Trevor wow, what a turnaround, man. Remember how much we were
Right?
rooting for Trevor? Like, we were like, "Dude, this guy, this teddy bear, this nice man, give him a shot." And this whole time, he has this woman out in the real world. And his demeanor here, it did look like he was gonna cry. It looked like he was uncomfortable. I mean, good for
Yeah.
these people for coming on the show because I would just be like, "Ugh, please
F no,
no."
yeah.
But these
Especially when
people
you know that you got caught.
well, yeah. And the thing is too, I wonder with them like showing the text messages and everything like that, like that's kind of the show covering their ass too, I think.
Mm,
Because like these people are supposed to be like looked into heavily to make sure they're suitable for the show and like vetted kind of.
yeah.
So it's kind of like they're probably like, oh well, what about this? Like we didn't know about this. Like
Yeah.
it's like they're almost kind of covering, but just his demeanor was very it almost seemed like he was acting a little bit for the first little bit, like, "Oh, I had a
Yeah,
speech and
yeah.
now." But then when he got into, like, saying to Chelsea, like, "If anybody deserves any apology, it's, like, to you," and she was like, "Yeah, I appreciate that," but that whole thing was weird, but him deciding to leave, I mean, I don't blame him. I would've been like, "Get me out of here," but good for him for going
Yeah.
on, but, like, I would've been like, "I need out of here." I don't know. Yeah, sure, I'm toxic. What who ca like, that okay, I own it, but I don't know. I was uncomfortable.
It was so weird. It was such a
So
weird thing that
weird.
they did. Yeah. Like I want to play devil's advocate and be like, because how young was he? If he's in his 20s and he's still trying to like figure things out, like he has an idea that he wants to settle down but doesn't know, and things are just weird in life, and this was like a good way to figure things out. I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's like, as Nick said, people are putting their hearts on the line. Like some people are dedicating themselves to this, and if you
Yeah.
think you can't be 100% dedicated, come on, man, it's messed up. Like I
It
think
is
you're just
messed up.
there. You're there for the fame. You're there for the cameras.
I don't see what advantage the disadvantage and the bad publicity that he's gonna get from this is way far more than any positive.
Yeah.
So if it's career driven or fame or whatever, no one's gonna endorse anything. No one's gonna like, because so it's like I don't know what was going through his mind. But let's move. Okay, we got it. Okay. Again, this is the most notes that I have for Clay and AD. Always
Okay.
Clay and AD. This to me more than Jimmy and Chelsea and anything. Like this to me was like the most upsetting couple on the show. And I'm going to say with even more conviction that I am team Clay all
Yeah,
day
all
long.
day Clay.
All day Clay, all Clay
Yeah.
day. Anyway, but you first tell me your thoughts and then I'll get into mine after you.
So the same. Again, like we were dogging this guy, and total turnaround. Like even again, like in this episode, like he's through the whole time, like he's never saying anything bad about her at all. He's just talking about how like he's realizing like, man, everything about me is messed up. I need to fix me. I'm working on me, stuff with his dad and everything, and then getting to see the conversation with his mom and his dad and how that affected him and stuff. I also don't believe that his dad apologized. I know he's like, my dad, we have our own way of talking and stuff like that. We have a great relationship, and
Didn't
his own
apologize.
way he apologized. Like, no, no, his own way, that means he didn't do it. If he was to
Yeah,
apologize, that means he says, I'm sorry. I messed
yeah,
you up. That's an
yeah,
apology. But if he's just
yeah.
like saying some metaphorical, you were in track and I was in track and I'm living vicariously through you. So, if you feel this way, then I guess I do too. No, that's not an apology. I'm sorry.
No, it ain't.
It's like your dad's not a good guy. Like if he's like, oh, my dad was a good parent. No, he wasn't. A good parent doesn't take his son on his cheating extravaganzas. That's not good parenting. Because a good parent's showing you an example of what a good man does. That's good parenting. You know, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know. He doesn't. This is what he had. He thinks that's good, and I just felt bad for him. More and more, it's like I feel bad for this poor guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hoping that after, because they all watched the series, and AD has now seen his perspective from that day, and I was really hoping for her to be like, you know what, like he did the right thing. He did the right thing because it would have sucked if he told me yes and he wasn't ready yet. I'm glad that he did that because that was good for both of us, you
Yeah,
know. But it really felt
duh.
like she was still kind of putting that on him, like he messed up. That's like, come on, like, do you want half a person or a whole person? Yeah, I
Thank
really
you.
I felt for him. I really felt for the poor guy, and it's just like they're like he's still professing his love for her. They're like, would you want to be with her? It's like hell yeah. It's like I'm in love with her. I'm still in love with her. Like she's my one, and she's just like, you had your chance. It's like, are you not hearing him at all?
No, she's not hearing him, and she can be like, I was so sad. That was like I had a meltdown. It was so hard to watch. And it's like, really? And it's like, I was so in love with him. It's like, no, you weren't. If I
No.
had to choose which one was in love with the other one, it'd be him in love with her 100%.
Yeah.
That what she is doing right now, or what she did, or what she expected, or whatever, that's not love. Okay, okay.
Unleash the Kraken.
I need okay, the notes are very like jot, but I said Clay again being open and honest and almost crying, saying that he struggles feel I might
You
start
got
crying, I'm
this.
sorry, but
You got this.
when he was like almost crying, saying that he struggles like feeling like he's deserving of love. Oh my God. Like
Yeah.
obviously he struggles with that. And he was like really sincere about that. And then if you look at her and she rolling her eyes, how you're the villain of the series. You're the villain.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even get over she's like, "Oh my God," rolling her eyes, and he's, like, literally about to have a breakdown saying that he's feels like he's undeserving of love, and that's probably why he can't commit because why would anyone want him when he's like this? Anyway.
She lost her dad, right? I don't know how
Mhm,
long ago she lost her dad, but her dad's gone. It's
mhm.
interesting that that's something they could have connected on. Because in theory, he didn't have a dad either. Like they
No,
both were
exactly.
fatherless in the grand scope of things. He never had a father to be there for him and teach him how to be a man. And in turn, she doesn't have a father to be there to teach her how to be daddy's girl, whatever it is.
Mhm, yeah,
Dads teach their kids different things that they need to become the people they need to be. And neither one of them had that. That should have been a bonding experience for them. And the fact that I think her not having a dad possibly hurt her too in some way, where she doesn't have the compassion she needs to have for maybe a man, you know? I think
Mhm.
that's what happened there for her, and she's not seeing it.
Ooh, good point. That she can't like the compassion that she should feel for a man she doesn't have because
Yeah.
right. Yes. Thank you, George. That is a good point. Get those flippers up. Clap, clap for yourself, George, man. That would be AD rolling her eyes, and he says that she's the love of his life, and her reactions just suck. They suck. Everyone thinks it's sweet for her. They're panning to everyone in the audience, all the people, and they're all like, "Oh, Brittany's like, oh," and she's like rolling her eyes and stuff. Just my notes. Oh my God, AD sucks. Give the man time. She's being terrible. Team Clay. But she's like, and then she's like trying to console him, but you are a good guy. Then give him a chance to believe it and like help him
Right?
believe it. Like she's flip flopping and flip flapping all around, like like rolling her eyes and then rubbing his leg. But you are a good guy. It's like, why would he believe that since everyone's abandoning him? That
Right?
he loves and he needs love from. And everyone's like, whatever. And then I said, don't say that you watch the conversation between Clay's mom and dad and then say, I didn't want that to be me and my life. Then she gets mad at Clay for not marrying her because he also does not want that to be his life. So she's
Yeah.
saying, you know,
Yeah.
I watched that interaction with the mom and I didn't want to be the mom, right? Like she's saying, like, I didn't want to be that.
Yeah.
Clay's saying, I don't want to be the dad. Like, I don't want to be like my dad. So that's why I'm taking a step back to make myself better for you. So you don't have to end up the way my mom did. Him having the whole saying that, you know, you hear that quote, like happy wife, happy life quote. Um, I don't like that quote, like at all.
Likewise. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that is such a like a selfish way for like women to look at things, and that's such a sad way for like men to have to say like the only way like this marriage is going to be good is if only she's happy and all my focus on her and everything's for her and everything. Like I just don't think that's fair or a 50 or I don't know relationships all 50-50, but that's not like a partnership.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
him saying that he was like real focused on that point as well, and he doesn't agree with it, I don't think, but that was a lot of pressure on him to like make sure his wife is happy all the time, and then they'll both be happy. But you need to focus on yourself a little bit too to make sure that you can be a unit.
Yeah.
How is she not listening to everything he's saying right now and being like, oh my God, okay, yes, you deserve another chance. You deserve it.
That's that.
Um, I
Well,
and
I
then also
guess
I love
that's
yeah.
that for now, I guess, because they do bring up someone later on that makes AD come
Okay.
back to the conversation.
Oh, yeah, do you want to touch on that now or after?
Might as well, because we're talking about her now, right?
Okay, because let me scroll. Because mine because those
Yours
notes
is in
are
order
all
of the
in
show. It's
yeah, they are. But those notes on this aspect we're talking about right now are all in capitalization letters. Like they're all capitalized because I was fuming. Okay, you go. You go first though.
oh,
You go.
I definitely had a moment of us like, what? Like I was out loud talking to the TV because they brought up Trevor, or not Trevor, they brought up Matt and his whole thing. We got to find out, did he say the same thing to her and Amber? And it turns out it was practically the same conversation of with the whole dad thing and the proposing and I'll leave with you and all that stuff. And once that got said and it was clear, and I was like, all right, well, we know like he's not a good guy. And then she tells us that she dated him for two dates or whatever dates. I was like, wait, why are you dating this man who pissed you off? Like he pushed you towards Clay, right? That's what I got from it. It's like once that whole thing was dead in the water because he was not being honest with her. It's like, all right, well, I can't trust him. Clay is my guy. She gave him a chance anyway because I guess he looked good. It's like you're so superficial then. That's all you
Yeah.
truly cared about because you knew he wasn't a good person and you still gave him a shot. Like what she never said what he said, like he apologized or whatever. There's no apology he can give that negates being untruthful and being a liar to you and the other person.
Yep.
Like I would love to know what he said. I would love what magical golden words he said to get himself out of that situation. Or was it just the face?
How in the world does she give Matthew a second chance and not Clay, a man who is so honest from the get-go
Right?
and open,
To all his faults. To all his
and
faults.
all of them, and who she's apparently actually in love with. No, no. She doesn't want, she's not ready to be married. Are you freaking kidding me?
No. And that's why like Clay's face when they brought up Matt,
Oh.
and I look at his face like, oh, like I felt that look was just like, oh, that mother, the one that gets a shot, but not me. Okay, yeah, okay.
Did you see his face the whole time
Oh
when they were watching,
man.
when she replaying the clip, and how she was getting so like, oh my God, Matthew, oh my God, this is crazy. And it's like,
And how she looked at him, like she's looking at him like they're boys, like, oh my god.
yeah,
This girlfriend's like chatting, it's like, don't look at him like you guys are cool. That's messed up. What the
like,
hell?
can you settle the F down? Because this guy who loves you and is broken, who wants to work hard to be with you, is watching you confess feelings and show happiness and joy about another man right now. And he has to keep his cool because you know how much
Yeah.
that must have hurt to him
I'm saying
to
she has no
watch that?
compassion. She has no
She
compassion for men.
no compassion for men. And I hated when she was like, oh, because, well, Matthew looks good. And then she's like, respectfully, just because you add the word respectfully at the end of something doesn't make it respectful.
Yeah.
This guy over here was like crying, saying your love of his life. And then you're like, oh, but Matthew looks good. Oh, respectfully. It's like, shut your mouth. You
Yeah.
are rude. You're an evil person. And ooh,
It's
I
the
don't,
equivalent of being like, no offense, but you're ugly.
yeah, like no, but like no one who's in love with, okay, if someone's in love with you, they don't want to hear you talking about how hot someone else is.
Right?
They don't want to hear that because I don't think that is like a respectful thing to do. Like it's just not. I just don't. If you're like really, oh, but he looks good. Like, what are you doing? Like this poor guy, and like his face. I was like, Clay, I feel so bad for you. I don't even know what my notes are. I'm just going off. Clay's demeanor watching AD and Matt's stuff and her reaction. Wow, her saying to Clay, "This is insane," and all he is probably thinking is, wow, you had this strong reaction and those words to a guy while you were my only one. Like she was his only one,
Yeah.
and he has to
Yeah.
be forced to watch. Like seriously, and she's mad at him for some reason. Anyway, I said AD reconnected with Matthew. She went on dates with him. He was heartbroken, and you trusted that he was heartbroken, saying he's kind of cute, saying respectfully to Clay, who is broken. Clay deserves better than AD. Wow. I just think like Clay needs someone else because AD ain't it. I'm sorry. Like she is
Isn't it kind of
terrible.
funny? Because remember before it was at a place where like we are putting Clay down, and it's like this
Yep.
guy's a player. I don't know. He's probably gonna cheat on her, and then she's gonna be the stupid one to take him back because he's gonna say I'm sorry. But now I think it might be the other way around. I think that she's playing him, and I think that he'll take her back, despite the fact that she's the one messing up, and it makes me
And
feel bad. It's like, holy snap, I got this all wrong.
oh yeah, we got it all wrong. And she's playing with like his heart, and they're like, well, would you ever do anything like hook up with him again or whatever? And she's like, no comment. I'm like, "Oh, can you like not like can you be serious for once and like have a
Yeah.
heart and like be compassionate to this man for once? Like for real?"
Yeah, because you never see Clay giggle or joke about anything. Like he was serious that whole episode. Everything that
And
they
like
talked about, like he was just like on it.
he was like, holding back tears the entire
Yeah.
time.
Like for men in general, crying is a big thing, especially in front of people. Like I think Jimmy put it pretty well. Jimmy's like, I'm not gonna cry in front of my boys, but I can at least let my emotions out with my girlfriends. That's an important thing. I totally get that. I grew up having girlfriends. Like I had a bunch of
Mhm.
girls that were friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always had more girls that were friends than guys. It's because you
Hmm.
can confide in them, you can tell them stuff, and they're not gonna judge you generally. You know.
Hmm.
And so I felt that when Jimmy said that, and it's like, damn, that's what Clay needs right now. Because Clay is trying to be a man and not show his emotion. And I think it's even harder for like black men or men of color because it's even put down your throat even more. That if you show any kind of emotion, then that's it. You're weak and you're not a man and you're beneath everybody. So like I felt for Clay that whole time, just trying to be like, no, I gotta be strong. I gotta suck it up and just, you know, but it was such a challenge. It was a challenge watching it, honestly, for that part.
It was. It was heartbreaking. It was absolutely heartbreaking because like showing like how this guy actually has emotional intelligence and depth to him, even though he was raised the way he was, like, and him being vulnerable enough to show it and express it, like, good for him.
Yeah.
Sometimes years and years of therapy takes that for people to do that, and he's already doing it, but he just wants to. It's just this one thing he needs to get right. But like, oh, I can't. If there's anybody out there who's still Team AD, I would like to know why. Because I have no idea how you could be. I don't know, just because he jilted her at the altar, if that's the only reason why. And can you explain to me why it was bad for him? If that was disrespectful, but like, don't you think it was the right decision? Like, I mean, like, I just need to know
Yeah. Yeah, it's like,
why
what are
anyone
you
should be.
seeing that we're not? What
Yeah. Anyway, that was huge. That this just solidified Team Clay all day, right?
Yeah. Hashtag clean Team Clay all day.
Yeah, we're gonna start it. We're gonna get that trending. We gotta.
Right.
Okay, I don't really have any notes about Amy and Johnny except for they're adorable, and I cried again watching their little
Yeah.
montage.
Watching, doing their little cooking show. It was so cute.
That whole thing was cute. I was tearing up. I was like, wow, this looks like true love. I'm happy for them, and communication is key. Communication is key, man. They're
Yeah.
proving it. I love that his favorite thing about her was that she doesn't assume, and we talk things out and everything, but like also that's like on him a little bit too, because he created a safe space for her to express
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to assume anything because she can just ask him about things and he won't get mad at her, and he can just like, oh, it was this. Oh, okay. Like that's the thing too. It's like communication is like you could have someone who's like an excellent communicator, but they will not be an excellent communicator with you if you're not receptive to it or if you're always on the defense or an attack. So it
Yeah.
takes two, a listener and someone understanding, and the communication and the openness. And you got to have both. Like it's difficult. That's
Yep.
what I'm saying. That's why it's hard to
Yeah.
find. It's hard.
Sometimes a leader needs to be a follower to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And I just
Oh,
made
it's
that up,
true.
I think.
You know what? Put that on a shirt. Not a strong start shirt.
No, that too, that made me so proud just to hear how
Yeah.
they talk to each other and everything. I liked just how he looked at her too. The way like
I know.
he was so focused on her when he was saying what he loved about her. You know, I was like, that's so sweet. Because just I'm
Oh,
not throwing any shade, but she kind of looked away and talked to the host on the camera when she said what she liked about him. But but
yeah.
I liked that was like for him, he was just like, this is what I love about her. She's just this, and he was in it. Like you can see his eyes are still like doe-eyed for her and everything. I thought that was really sweet.
It's so sweet. I know those two, like, hopefully forever fairy tale storybook romance. Okay.
Right? Yeah, hopefully the next reunion they're having a baby.
Yes, I know it'd be sweet. Okay, so we're just happy about them. So let's move on to Jimmy and Chelsea, and you'd take the reins on this. Be the leader. Be
Man,
the leader right now.
I another one that we were not we were not team Jimmy, and I found myself being team Jimmy this whole thing. At first, like because they paired everyone up together as they would be because of how the pods turned out. They were
Yes.
really close next to each other, and through watching the episode, I was waiting. I was like, did they end up back together? Like their body language kind of made me think they ended up back together again. But then they started talking, and the
Yeah.
way he talked, like the inflections in his voice, and he seemed like he was gonna start crying too. Like he felt a
Oh.
little like choked up with emotion, like between like love hurt, the sadness, and even the anger of everything and stuff like that. Like I felt like even a year later, he's still in it. Like I don't get that him and her are friends at all. You know, I don't. If they say they are, I don't believe it. I mean, maybe she tries because I can see her still trying, but
Mm-hmm.
everything that he was reliving it again. I saw it where they're talking about like the past relationship with his ex girlfriend that's his current friend and stuff, and that whole secret and all that kind of stuff. In which I was kind of surprised and also a little upset that no one agreed with him. Like it felt like everyone's like, I don't want to touch that. That's whatever. That's
Yeah.
their thing. And it's like, no, you're talking about everything else. Everyone was free to talk about the crap with freaking Sarah Ann and that crap and everything with Trevor and everything with freaking Matt. Like that was all free reign. But now that we're talking about Jimmy's secret thing, it's like, I don't want, I'm good. I don't want to talk about it. It's like, come on, no, you have an opinion. You all have an opinion on this.
Didn't
She
Clay?
messed
I
up.
thought he did. I thought Clay kind of
Clay
agreed
did.
that
Clay was the
that
only one.
there was like certain.
Clay was the only one, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone else was like, I don't know. You know, and it got to a turning point where they're like, because Clay was on both sides. Clay was like, I get, you know, that's a secret. You probably shouldn't say anything. He's like, but to the same point, you know, she's in her emotions, and I get that it's an emotional situation. So like he was very understanding for both sides. But because once he
Mm-hmm.
started talking about Chelsea's side, then others are like, well, yeah, you know, feelings happen. It's like, frick her feelings. A secret's a secret still.
Yeah.
Like I can tell my wife a secret. I know she's gonna keep it.
Hmm.
No one knows my stuff that I don't want anyone else to know but her. So it's
Right.
like that's you're building a relationship. You're building a foundation. You
Yeah.
start breaking that foundation. Well, of course he's gonna think the house is gonna fall down. I mean, come on.
Put that on a shirt. Put that on a shirt. Yeah. Jimmy, they kept panning to Jimmy a lot, and
They
he
did, yeah.
looked furious and pissed off the whole time. And he also, yeah, looked very emotional. And he even said too, like, didn't he say something about like showing emotion? He did, right? That's why he has girlfriends about the emotions and everything like that.
Yeah,
And I was watching him too, and I felt for Jimmy as well. Like I was like, oh God, he's holding a lot. He's had a lot. He's been going through a lot, like all the stuff that people say online and everything like that.
yeah.
I mean, I'm out here throwing shade at AD, so I'm part of the problem, but
But
but but I
we do it
understand
in one
how
video. We're not, or
yeah,
maybe
we just
three.
just
But
no. And I'm not going in like comment sections being like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not one of those
yeah.
people, but like
Yeah,
we're
that's
just
that's
gonna
going
throw it out.
overboard.
Yeah, it is. Um, that whole thing. I don't know if they're still together, but there was a part too where they were like talking, and at the end he like kind of put his hand on her leg and like kind of like rubbed her leg a little bit, and she put her
Yeah,
hand on
yeah.
him, and I'm like, maybe that was just like solidarity. Like I don't know what that was, but just comfort. Or I don't know if there is something going on with them. Like I don't see how there could be since the way he was talking about the whole like that aspect with the friend.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because when he
the
brought
only
up the whole
question.
thing with her ex-boyfriend and all that stuff, she was quick to be like, "I told you nothing happened. Like, we don't hang out with each other." And he's just like, "All right, like, I guess I misheard things, you misheard things, whatever." Like he was just trying to get himself out of that conversation. It's like, "All right, okay. I'm not gonna dig myself into that grave again. I'm not
That's our,
gonna."
Jimmy's like, I know which speech bubble to pick
Yeah,
now,
he knows
and
now.
that's escape. That's escape. Get out. But that was a question I was gonna ask you too about like what you thought about the whole like private conversations and it being aired on TV. And I'm in the same boat with you where it's like there's certain things like you need to have trust in your person. And with some things like that deep, like listen, like I really feel this way. I'm trusting you with like this part of my, no one's like, hey man, Chelsea didn't protect his heart. Like it's always like Laura's like, he
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
protect my heart. Like Chelsea did not protect Jimmy's heart by like outing that stuff that he trusted her with. So why is one okay and the other is not? I mean, they're different contexts, but you know what I mean. It's all if it boils down to protecting someone's heart, she didn't either. Like he
yeah.
trusted her with that information deeply, and she let it out. And I know like she's like drunk apparently when it happened, and yeah, feelings happen, but I feel like it was extremely deliberate to air it on camera.
Yeah, because it felt like a focused attack.
Hmm.
It's kind of like the stereotypical thing, like back in the day, be like, oh, when women and men have arguments, women are ready and they have these things in the pocket.
Back pocket. Yeah.
Something you did like 20 years ago, they still got it there. It's like you
Yeah.
didn't put the frying pan back where it belonged. What that was how many years ago? What the hell?
Yes. On September 9th,
Yeah.
2020,
Like that's
you
what it
did
felt
this,
like for
by the
him.
way.
Because he's in the moment. Like they're having a argument of something in the moment, and then she whips that out. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? Like, why are you talking about that? And that's why, like,
Hmm.
I was with him where he's just like, do you see me talking about your ex-boyfriend that you have a FaceTimes with and you hang out with? It's like, no, I didn't like it, but I don't talk about it. And she's like, well, that's different. That's not the same. It's like, it's exactly the same. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like you're being
Yeah.
a hypocrite. It's like you don't like that he looked at frickin' this chick's picture. You don't like that he talked to her. You don't like that he has an ex-girlfriend who's his friend, but it's totally okay for you to have an ex-boyfriend that you talk to. It's okay for you to hit on Trevor when you guys are meeting up at the little cabin. It's okay for you to do the things that you don't like him doing. It's very
Hmm.
hypocritical. That's how I felt with her, and she was still sticking by it to this situation. She just did not
Yeah.
care. There was one point where I did turn on Jimmy, and that was
Okay.
with the thing with Jessica, and like
Hmm.
I guess he threw her under the bus. They were saying with that
In an
interview or
interview.
whatever,
Hmm.
and he's just like, well, you left, like 10 minutes in or whatever, and then they showed the video, and it's like their
2 hours.
their date was 2 hours and some odd minutes, and it's just like,
Mhm.
oh, dude, they got you, man, they got you. Which for me, it's like 10 minutes and 2 hours feel like different things. All right, those are
They
two
do.
different timelines. And it
Yeah,
looked
that was
like they
weird.
were on the same page.
Yes.
So it's just like, she might be right.
I think she was, and like she didn't just walk out on him. They
No,
like
she's like, I'm
made
gonna
an
go.
agreement. Hmm. I know. Okay, okay, good. Because I Jess is my next thing.
Yeah.
So there's like bad blood between them.
Between the two of them, her and Jimmy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because of that one, that's why she was like, "Oh, I thought things were good between us," but because of that one interview, it sounds like that's where the bad blood comes in, right?
Yes, but honestly, I think the bad blood was there when he rejected her. Because remember, like when he rejected her, she went off on him. She didn't let that go easily. Not like the way like Sarah Ann let her thing go with Jeremy. Granted, didn't let go. But but I'm just saying, like it's a total opposite kind of like reaction. And I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's breaking up with you to go with someone else. It sucks. You're hurt. You're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
emotions and a reaction. But the way she left it, it seemed bad. So I don't blame him for then in turn maybe not feeling that things were copacetic between the two of them. They're not gonna be as good as you probably think they're gonna be. So I think from then on, things have always been a little sour between the two of them.
Yeah, like he said, I didn't like your tone with me. I didn't like the way you talked to me. Like it was,
Yeah.
and the thing about that, because she was like, I never what like I always just told you like you go do like there's that clip and she's like you go find what you need and I want you to go find out what you need, please do that and blah blah. It's like only if it's you. Only if he just picks you,
Yeah.
because he did go find out what he needed and he
Yep.
did think on it and he did realize it. Well, he thought he realized it. And then when he told you that, you freaking laid into him. So it's like, Jess, do you like, does she say things that she thinks are the correct thing to say? Or does she mean them? Like I don't
Yeah.
I don't know. And like the thing about Jess too is she's like, "Oh, I wanted you to tell me how you felt about me. I wanted you to say it first. I wanted you to blah blah blah." And it's like you are clearly extremely open with your feelings and you're direct and everything like that. Jimmy
Yeah.
isn't. That's just who he is that's just who he is. He's not as open. So it's like they always talk about giving people grace, right? And it's like, give him grace for being a person who's not as open with his feelings and who isn't as direct, right? Like,
Yeah.
why does everyone need to give you grace all the time for being the way you are, but no one can give these people grace for being the way they are? Just, oof.
Yeah. That was one of the situations like I had to give Jimmy this in the pods, and I could relate with this is that when you get information, either A, you don't know how to like reciprocate your thoughts and feelings towards it in an immediate response, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the information is so heavy you feel that you still need to like sit on it and kind of weigh in, give it some thought, and you want to have the right response back for that person who's waiting for your thoughts. You never want to come in
Yeah.
half baked on an emotion or your thinking. So like
Mm-hmm.
I always respected the fact that he needed time to think about what he was going to say. It
Mm-hmm.
can seem shady in some ways where it's just like, oh, you're trying to think of the right thing to say so you don't mess this up. But at the same time, sometimes you need to do that so that you get all your ducks in order. Like I
Yeah.
do that on this show. You'll notice on this show, like I'll rarely ever stutter or do uhs or buts or ums. Is because I'm usually trying to think of whatever I'm going to say,
Mm-hmm.
before I say it. I think that's a good way of being. I respect that Jimmy had that approach when it came to his conversations with all the girls, but I guess that wasn't good enough for her. He was not allowed to think.
Yeah. Yeah, just react. Yeah, he was just more of like, well, I need yeah, a lot of people need to do like the sorting of their mind, right? They
Yeah.
need to be like, okay, and like what am I actually feel? Sometimes it's like even with silly things, like if I watch a movie, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about the movie. Go to sleep, wake up the next day. I have lots of different ways I feel
Yeah.
about a movie. And
Yeah.
that's like on a freaking movie. Like how do you do that for a wife? Like who pick a
Relationship. Yeah.
wife?
Yeah.
Like you need to like you may need more than a day or an hour. Like, oh
It's
God.
like I'm contemplating forever over here, right?
Yes, exactly. And contemplating forever. Oh, I totally agree. A thing is like Chelsea. I had to add this, like just her being so. I know we like are like kind of dragging Chelsea a little bit, but it's just because it's just like, dude, calm down. Like you have to calm down a bit. But her being so insecure and sensitive, and like I can't even imagine being that insecure and sensitive and having to deal with like all that online stuff. Like that's
Oh yeah.
huge.
I was
Like
I
I don't
was
know.
I was proud of her for admitting at least that she's aware
Yeah.
that she's too in her thoughts for that kind of stuff.
Mm.
It's like good, at least you're aware of it. That's good. That means you're growing in some aspect. Because if you didn't acknowledge it, I'd be like, come on, girl.
Yeah, I think she realized I don't know how you can't not. realize when you watch yourself back and being like,
Yeah.
that was a bad
It's
reaction.
like I
Like,
should
well,
have I
that
should
must
have
be a
backed up a
good.
bit.
Yeah, just a little beep, beep, beep. Like it's a little.
Don't drink on emotion. That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, that is a good one. Okay, Brittany and Kenneth.
Not enough time.
That
Not
was a
enough time.
huge.
Because that was the one I was waiting for, honestly. I was waiting for that one so much. I was
Mhm.
like, since they held it off for so long, I thought I was like, oh man, they're gonna give us some juicy stuff. Like there's some stuff we don't even know. Things have been
Yeah.
happening, you know, and they were really close to each other too. So it's like, did they get back together? Did they work it out? What's going on? And it's just like, no, we're just gonna glaze over this. We're just like, it's nothing big. They're friends, which I was surprised. I was actually surprised that they were still friends and that they talk to each other every day. When they were saying that, I was like, all right, so you talk to each other every day, and then means you guys are together now, and he stopped using his cell phone. You know, which I'm glad they brought that up. I'm glad they were able to poke fun at that. It,
Hmm.
it felt like he was kind of tiptoeing though, where like he wanted to still be right in what he said and what he did, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like he did apologize. You know, like he did. You know, it's like, yeah, I was on my phone too much. You know, that was. But I wish they really addressed like they said, like the gaslighting. Like you totally gaslit her. It's like she felt things for you. You didn't feel them for her. Like, why didn't they just get to that? I wish they had that conversation. It kind of disappointed me. We didn't get to hear anything about that.
Well, he just basically said people react to things differently. That was it. And it was like it was kind of crappy, like how you
It,
handled that. Like own up
yeah,
to it a little bit. Like I know people react differently, but you can't watch that and be like, "Damn, that was a really I handle that very coldly and poorly." And like this is like my best friend in the world now. I wish he would have like looked at her and said, "That was terrible of me. I'm sorry about that." And I like
yeah.
they probably said it in real life, but it's like
But for the
I would
audience,
I would, but it's like I'd want to clear my name if I actually believed
yeah,
that. Like
yeah,
I'd be like, you guys, like I was terrible. I'm so sorry. This woman's amazing. She's my best friend now, and I treated her poorly. And he's just like, no, everyone is different. Everyone reacts differently. Like that was
yeah.
a
No,
bad way to
he
react.
justified himself. He pretty much he still said he was right. He's like, I'm a
Yeah.
principal, so like I went back to work and everything like that. So I was, I'm there for the students and for the teachers and the parents and all that
Mm.
kind of stuff. It's like if that's true, it's like, wow, that's awesome that you're that kind of principal that's that invested in your community. But at the same time, it's like, are you serious though? You just came back from like trying to find the person for your life. I don't care who the hell these parents and teachers are. They're probably aware that this is what you were doing. They can
Mhm.
give you, like you said, some grace, you,
Mhm.
you know, and like trying to like sort your life and get your stuff together because you can't be the best principal or person you could be for them if you don't got your stuff in order.
Also, it's like you can't tell me that that's the only thing you were doing on your phone the whole time.
He was talking to his friends. He was totally
Like I
talking to
mean,
his friends too. Yeah.
he was scrolling and double tapping and everything. Like you could tell
Yeah.
by the thumb
Yeah.
motions. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't, and like, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. Why didn't they talk about this? It doesn't matter if you are doing like even like your school stuff or whatever, like whatever hours of the night. If someone's having a heart to heart with you and like talking to you about their feelings and clearly upset, you do not whip out your phone or keep being on your phone. You do not do that.
Yeah. It's
Like
disrespectful. It's just
it was terrible. That was one of the worst things on the show. Like I don't know why they just glazed over them. I have no idea why. Like it was just that they deserve and then for us to be like so I mean it's great that they found like this like long life like term connection. But at the same time it's like first of all I'm glad they're not dating because she deserves
yeah.
way better than
Yeah.
that. And I guess he deserves someone who's like a lot more you do you, boo.
I
Like you
guess
do
more
whatever you
flippant,
want and I
doesn't
don't
care,
care.
doesn't
Yeah, exactly. Someone who doesn't care as much. But like that was a very sad episode that they had and that was very
Yeah.
heartbreaking. So for them to just glaze over it like haha, it's okay, we're friends now. It's like yeah, but no one's everyone's dragging everybody else. Like Kenneth, that was pretty
Yeah,
shit. That was pretty
he got out
crappy.
scot-free. He got out scot-free in that situation. Yeah. All I could think
And
to
maybe
myself as I was watching that, because he talked about the principal crap, and I thought to myself, I was like, what are you teaching those kids? Are
yeah.
you teaching those kids to like to have the kind of manners that you have? Because that's not how I be. Like when I'm talking to someone, I look at them in the eyes. You know,
Mhm.
like right now, I'm looking you in the eyes. I'm not looking at my camera. I'm looking at the screen in your eyes because that's how I talk to people. That's
Me too. I can never look at the camera. This feels weird. I'm like, I'm not talking to this.
yeah,
I'm talking to this.
yeah. That means in your classrooms, you just have the kids on their phones while they're learning their subjects. I mean, come
Mhm.
on, man. It's just proper
Ugh.
etiquette.
That was disappointing that they didn't go into that.
Yeah, no, they let him go way too easy on that one.
The other notes that I have are about the other people who they brought on. Kwame and Chelsea. I mean, I liked them from the previous season, but it's like she works for Love is Blind now and casts the people. I'm like, this is all your fault.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. It's like, oh, so you're the one scoping Instagram and getting us duds. Thanks a lot.
Mhm. Honestly, I was like, seriously, you need to be vetting these people more. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
You know what I kind of felt? I felt like she was put there, like, all right, we're gonna put her on there and say that she works for us, and she's not gonna work for us next season because she's our scapegoat. She got fired.
I mean, I would have been nervous to admit that. I would have been nervous
Right?
to be like, haha, I did the casting. I didn't background check Trevor enough. He didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't know. Oh, okay. My second last note is that I was wondering why they didn't pay enough attention to certain couples like Chelsea and Jimmy. Is like, I don't know if they said like, hey, don't talk about this and this and this and this and this. Like, we're
uh
done. Like, we're
yeah.
done. I don't want to get into it. Like, I don't know how deep it go. I don't know the rules. I don't know how deep it goes. I don't know if there's certain things they're like, we want this off the table. We want to move on from this. Like, just please don't talk about any of these things. Like, I wonder. Like, I don't know.
That's possible. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Because just because of how much information that was delved into for like the first couples, like Jeremy and stuff, and the stuff with
Hmm.
Trevor, like they just went
Hmm.
into it. So I didn't even think that anyone else would have an off limits kind of thing. Because those are the people
Hmm.
that should be off limits. Like if I was them, I would like, I don't want to talk about any of that stuff, guys. I don't even want to be here to be honest.
But
But
then
there's a
I can
free
see,
meal, so I guess I'll come. There's
I can see Jeremy and Sarah Ann being like, I don't care. Like, we're happy. We don't care. We'll say whatever we want. Like, just
Yeah. But
whatever.
like
Let's do
Laura,
this.
like why would Laura want a Zoom call in there? It's like, why waste your time with them on a Zoom call? Enjoy yourself. Go do your job and be with the new man you're with. Forget these people. I've moved
Hmm.
on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it's like I'm like, what's going on here? What's
I just wish there was more attention put on other things than what
yeah,
they put all their attention on. So my last note was that I honestly wanted like a better reunion episode, and with how much drama and unanswered questions there were, and like I wanted more from it and more focus on the actual cast and more current
yeah,
updates. Like that's what I was expecting, what I wanted, because I feel like they've done that so much better in previous seasons, and this reunion was just kind of like it was lackluster to me. It
yeah.
was lackluster. What do you
Yeah, it was
feel
very
about it, like as a whole?
lackadaisy. Yeah, it didn't feel like a real episode to me. It felt like actually like I said, it felt like a farewell episode. Like this is the
Yeah.
last season of Love is Blind. And it felt also like more of a promotion for the new show, which I didn't even know about. Which I didn't know there was a second season of a show I never heard of.
Did feel like a promotion.
I will say I'm kind of curious now about Perfect Match, I guess it's the show, right? With just
I don't even
Nick.
know what it's about. I don't
I
even know
don't
what
know
it's like. What
either.
is it about?
But apparently three people from Love is Blind are going to be on it. So I don't like I'm curious. I will say that they did that. They got my curiosity.
They got Jess on there, so I don't know.
Yeah, and they
We'll
got this
see.
guy from the last season who freaking had
Hmm.
his own little heartbreak kind of stuff going on. In which with
Yeah.
how close he was with the other girl, who I forgot her name. I thought they were a couple.
Yeah.
I thought they were
That's what they
together.
wanted you. Yeah, they wanted you to think that. 'Cause they're like,
Yeah.
oh, what, you guys have some news? And everyone's like, oh, it's like, no.
Yeah. Well, because
They're baiting you.
I remembered at the end of the last season for like his season, he
Hmm.
wasn't with the girl that he was with, but he ended up
Mm-mm.
finding someone else who looked like her, you know, and that she was a blonde. So I was like, is this that same girl? I can't like, no, it's not her, right? She looks familiar, but not that familiar. And it's like, oh no, she's from another season. That's why I remember her from. Okay. And it's like, did they meet up somehow? Are like Love is Blind people just like connecting? Is there like a forum where they get to connect? What is this? How do you guys end up hanging out together? It's like, what do you guys all do for a living? You guys are all like, is this rich, pretty people with problems? Is that what this is?
And it's like, how much money are you like? Are you making money from the show? Like, I don't understand
I don't
that.
know.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It all has to be social media stuff. Like they all talk about like not being in this for like the clout and stuff like that and the social media fame and all that crap. But when you look at these people like on their Instagram stuff like that, what does it say? It says love is blind in their Instagram. So it's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're kind of in it for that. Don't pretend like you're not. Because as we
Yeah.
know, it's like when you have a good social media following, you can make money off of it. It's a source of
Oh yeah.
revenue. Yeah.
Oh,
So when
exactly.
someone like Trevor's like, what would I even have? What would I want fame for? What career? That's the career. Social media fame. There it is.
Yeah. Hmm.
People will
That's
follow
what I
you
was thinking.
for being a pain in the butt.
Yeah, love you or hate you, people will follow you. People will
Yeah,
follow you. They'll get the clicks, they'll get likes, shares, everything. You're gonna be famous no matter what. So love is blind.
yeah. So now the question is, are we watching Perfect Match?
Oh, you know what, George? I don't even know what it's about, but I can already tell you I really don't wanna. Like I wanna keep my reality love shows like just
To
so
one.
only Love is Blind. And like even Love is Blind now, I mean it's getting really
It
dramatic, but at the
feels
same time
tainted.
I'm
It
like,
feels tainted.
oh, it feels there's a little bit of taint sprinkled in this
Yeah.
in the season.
Damn, I hate when there's a little bit of taint. Damn it.
I know. So, what do you guys think? Let us know below. Let us know if you again. I want more. I want comments. I want people to like, really disagree with us or agree with us. Like, just people comment. Like, we want to know.
Right?
We had one. We had a comment. Someone being like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch you guys now because of this Love Is Blind." So even if this is for that one person, we love you. Keep
Right? And that one
commenting.
person, what do you think? Should we start watching these other shows? You will dictate our lives from here on forward.
God, oh my God! Please don't dictate my life. Don't taint my life. Thank you for watching this episode of Marie Plays It All with George and our recap of the reunion of the Love is Blind season 6. There's a lots of mouthful.
Yeah.
You can find more of our taint-free content on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Not a Strong Start. You can like and subscribe and share and comment below, please. And you can follow me on Instagram at Marie Plays It All. Where can we find you, Jorge Marrero?
You can find me at Nicolopolis. And I did not put my at on my handle, but that's okay. You guys know I'm a Nicolopolis. It's down in the description.
Never stop playing and never stop going to therapy. Never stop showing your
Yeah.
emotions. If you're a man, you're free to do so. Never stop communicating well, you guys. You know, listen and
Yep.
communicate and understand. What do you think, Jordan? Which people never stop doing?
Never stop loving.
Send us out with the theme song. Redo that theme song. We the outro.
Rewind back to the beginning, and that's what it was. Love is blind. It's so small on me.